Do endings matter? I know many of y'all, men of culture out there, women of culture out there, have watched the anime. Every episode was great, you enjoyed, and then the last episode was absolutely trash. You read a manga, great, and then the ending just happened to be so rushed that you couldn't believe that they didn't even wrap up all the plot holes they had, and it was trash. Do endings, does it truly matter? So, if you like this video, leave a like, comment, and subscribe. So, do endings really matter? Well, I think the answer is yes and no. It kind of depends, really. Anime-wise, I feel like endings don't really matter as much because it's more of like the journey and the great moments we remember and the awesome animation, all the things up to that. I feel like there's more expectation on the animators kind of animating the source material properly and just kind of meeting their expectations. Don't get me wrong, if there is a moment in the ending that the animators cut out or did shitty or did something just completely wrong, people will be upset about. But if the ending of the anime was bad, the animators animated it to that extent, to that way, but made it more fleshed out and more cool, I think most of the time, more times than not, the audience just accepts it as is and has not as many complaints. I mean, it's the anime community, they're always going to complain about something, but it's not going to be as crazy. A good example of this is the Attack on Titan ending. Honestly speaking, I think people were absolutely pissed at the mangaka, for the manga artist, for his manga ending. The anime came out, same shit happened. They're like, I accept it, and it was pretty much it. So I think it's more about, for anime wise, it's about, just adapting the source material properly. Because a lot of times, more times than not, source material from anime has to get taken out or changed or stuff like that. More times than not, most anime watchers are thinking about, is everything adapted the right way? Because we run into a Promised Neverland, it's not going to be good, and people are going to be absolutely pissed about that. So I don't think anime endings matter as much, just because of the fact that most animes are lucky to get season 2s. And hell, most animes are lucky to get a full completed series from start to finish, a completed work where the anime is ended. So I think just more fans are more forgiving. Now, manga endings, I think it's a little bit different. I think manga endings do matter, because I think people kind of form their opinions on how they will see the anime at the end of the day, because they know if the manga ending is not good and not just trash, or they don't like it, they're not going to be excited to watch the anime. Obviously, if it's like a big name brand, a big brand anime, or one of the big three, as long as the ending doesn't insult the audience's intelligence, people are going to watch regardless. But I think a manga ending can definitely sour someone's taste enough for them not to want to watch the anime. I mean, a manga ending that's not good or terrible, it matters, because people have a high expectation. They see the author is working on the work, and they're not really considering, there's a timeline to everything be done. The producer is telling you gotta hurry this up and do all this shit to it. And there's so many moving parts that can be in a manga, especially if you have a complex plot like One Piece or some shit like that. Like when One Piece ends, there's no shot that the creator Oda is gonna be able to make an ending that makes everyone happy. There's very few animes or mangas that have the ending. It's like, you know what? That was a really good ending, with no one being kind of like, oh, this didn't really make sense. Well, this didn't really make sense either. So, like I said, at the end of the day, I think I think manga endings matter, but anime endings don't matter as much. As long as the anime endings doesn't do something to insult the audience's intelligence. It's like you do something that's just absolutely like, what the fuck? Like, it kind of just goes against what the characters do from the very, very beginning. And more times than not, when animes end like that, they usually veer off from the source material completely and do their own shit, and it's very apparent, and that's why people end up telling you to read the manga. So those are the only times I think the anime endings really matter. But overall, I don't believe anime endings matter just because you're more there for the journey and you're just glad to see it animated. You're glad that you want certain parts to be hyped up to be what it's supposed to be. You're more focused on the animation and things getting flushed out and just animated properly. Versus manga, you're there for solely the story and obviously the great drawings and stuff like that. But you're there for the story, so you expect a great start from start to finish, especially when you're hooked and you have all these theories that you want to think of that you hope happen. I wanted to create this video because I know there's many animes that have mangas have ended this year, like Jujutsu Kaisen, Oshino Ko, blank My Hero Academia, and some people have been complaining about some of the endings. And I won't lie, I've heard that some of these endings are not good, or they're just not well received. But however, I do think once a lot of these, especially My Hero Academia and Jujutsu Kaisen, their endings are animated, I feel like a lot of these people are gonna be like, okay, it's not as bad, just like they did with AOT. When AOT's manga ended, people were pissed off about how they thought it was bad, it didn't make sense, nothing changed, yada yada yada. But then the anime came out and they're like, yo, this was great, it was a masterpiece, just because that they were glad it was animated the way they wanted to. And at the end of the day, the ending made sense. That is my thoughts on why I believe anime endings don't matter, but manga endings do. Now, make sure you go ahead and leave a like, comment, and subscribe. MCpodcast signing out. Stay meta culture, people. And if I get this video out before New Year's, hope everyone had a happy New Year's. After, hope everyone had a happy New Year's.